One of the most important concepts in drawing the form in 3D space would be that of the box or the square or the rectangle. And you can see right here that I'm going to attempt to make this as neatly as possible for the lecture purposes, because when we get into doing the exercises, I'm going to go very much freehand. So what I want to do is I'm connecting this, and I'm connecting it corner to corner. And we can draw through it and draw inside of it so that we get a clearer understanding. Now, I am now going to copy this and paste it to illustrate something. If I erase certain lines on the inside, and a lot of you have done this when you're in school. Grade school usually is probably the first time that you see somebody do it and it becomes like the coolest thing in the world, but this is actually a pretty important concept. So I've erased these lines right here. And by erasing these lines, what I've done is I've created a box. So, we can just see that it's a box. Now, if I go to the other side and erase a different set of lines, we can see right away that it changes directions. And so now we have this. Obviously, we've changed directions. So what that means is that that's an important concept to remember, because we are also going to do this with the cylinders that we are going to create. And what this is doing is showing you that it isn't that hard to change directions on 3D space. It doesn't have to be as difficult as you think it is. So the reason why I'm teaching these as separate skills is because a lot of times in the books that you have, or I've seen people teach certain concepts about anatomy, is that they want you to put together a mannequin, which consists of, and I'm going to draw this very quickly up here, there's some sort of square representing the chest, and this might be representing the hips, and then they want you to draw this mannequin. Well, this right here is a cylinder, this is a square, and if you don't understand the basics of just drawing the square, the rectangle, or what they're trying to do, then trying to put all that together, those are separate skills, and it can become overwhelming and it can become very frustrating. So that's why I'm taking the time out to actually go over some of the basics of drawing the squares in 3D space. Now, a very much easier way of doing that, and you can draw through that. I do really love that method of drawing through something. It means that you're just drawing, it's exactly what it sounded like. It's drawing all of the lines, even the ones that are behind, and we'll be doing a lot of that. But if I wanted to take the same concept, what I can do is, and so I can make this a little, I'm going to kind of eyeball it here. What I want to do is go from, let's look at A, and let's look at B. I want to repeat these two lines. It depends on the direction that I want to go in. So I got A and B, and so I am going to, we've decided, we meaning I, have decided that now we are going to go in this direction. That's what direction the box is going to be facing. So I can go right here. And all I'm going to try and do is match these corners as best as possible. And so now I'm thinking that it looks pretty accurate, because a lot of this is going to be eyeballing it. So I'm going to try to connect this here, and I'm going to connect this here, and we're going to go this way. Okay, so that was pretty successful. I went ahead and did that. And I can do this around any side of the square that I have. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to erase these lines. If you don't get this right away, don't worry about it. I'm not gonna. There's no rush to do this. There's no rush for it. There's just you take the time and practice as much as you need. So let's go with A and B. And so we're going to go A, B, and I want to connect to here, and I want to connect to here. That's a little bit off. I can tell already. So what I can do is just correct it. So I can make this much better. So now it is facing in the other direction. And when you're following along with me, if you guys are just doing this freehand, that's fine. You do not have to pull out a ruler. So you can just, I want you to get the concept. I'm not worried about you making these lines super straight. That is not my worrying at all, because what you can always do is I want you to sketch kind of loosely, and then if you want to straighten up a line, then what you do is just go back in. You can go back in with a ruler, or if you have a digital tool, you can go back in with your line tool, and you can always clean it up later. You can create another layer and just trace over it. It's not a big deal. If you're drawing on paper, you can just get a straight edge of some sort. Or if you do have a ruler or a T-square laying around, that's great. And you can also just practice making straight lines. Just practice making lines as straight as you possibly can. But I'm just doing this with the digital tools that I have in order to let you see as clearly as possible, so there's no ambiguity or anything like that. Let's go ahead and go around one more side here. And I'm going to go ahead and erase that and erase that. Sorry. So I'm going to kind of thicken up this line a little bit just to make it clearer. And this time I'm not going to put A and B. I am just going to put, we know that we're going to match it up corner to corner, and we can always adjust it if it doesn't look right. And so there we go. Another box in 3D space. Now, the other thing about, let's say that we want to find the midpoint of this rectangle, of this shape right here, of this rectangular shape. Let's draw a rectangle. And if you take a rectangle and you want to find the midpoint, you take from, let me go ahead and change colors here so you guys can see this clearly. You're going to go from this corner right here to this corner first. All right. And then we are going to go from this corner right over here to the opposite corner. Let's grab our line tool. And right here should be the midway point. This is the midpoint. Let's see if I can hit the midpoint. Nope. So this right here is the midpoint. Let me hit my shift key. All right. And that should be the midpoint right there. So what does this mean when it comes to the 3D objects? Well, that means that I can now take this corner. If I want to find the midpoint in between here in 3D space, I can grab this corner and I'm going to match it to this corner. So there are the opposite corners. And then I'm going to pull out the color red and I'm going to match this corner up here to this corner right here. So you only got 4 corners to work with. It's not like it's something that you can easily forget. And so if we do this, then right about here, now when you bring in the midpoint line around, you want to see that these lines are parallel. So I'm going to try to make this as parallel as possible, and we'll put it in blue. And hopefully this will work. Not quite. That's a little better. But essentially that is the midpoint. And let me go ahead and erase that a little bit, because I want you to really understand this. And you can also eyeball this a little bit, because when you're drawing and you start drawing the 3D figure, you will not you're going to be eyeballing this stuff. So let's see. That looks about parallel right there. If I would have hit the shift key, it would have made it a lot better. But I think you guys get my drift. So that'd be about the midpoint of that line. And you can also do the opposite of right here. So we got a red, so let's use another red over here. And let me go ahead and pull out the right tools here. Now we're going to go back to our line tool. We're going to connect from corner to corner. Right over here we have a green. So we're going to match this green up over here to this corner. And the line where that hits, well, that's kind of off. Which means that this top line that I drew was not that accurate. Let me go ahead and freehand this, because this is how I'm really going to do this. So I have to make sure that this is parallel with this line. So what that says right now, since this is off, that means that this line does not match this line. Interesting. Let's try and get it. Now, I easily could have edited all of this stuff out, but I don't want to edit this stuff out. This is the kind of stuff that I want to leave in, because I want you to see that I want you to see me get this correct, or as close to correct as I can. Now, what I have figured out is that this line right here and this line are probably not going to be perfectly straight, because this line is not parallel to this line right here. So this line A right here is not parallel to line B. It's not perfect, but it's close enough for right now. Because what I want you to really see is that if you're trying to figure out how to do this in 3D space, and let's go ahead and clean this area up right here. What I really want you to see is that there is a way in which you can find out what the half point is. And you're not going to have to divide boxes in half right now. That's more into a lot more mechanical vehicle type designs. And there's an artist named Scott Robertson who's incredible in teaching you how to draw vehicles. And but drawing vehicles is not really my forte. But let's freehand this and show you exactly what I'm talking about. So if I take this line, now I want to draw this. I'm going to go backwards, because that'll make this a lot easier. So we know that we're going to go to corner. So we also can do this the other way. We can just extend the lines where we want them to. And I can go across that way. And now I know if I draw the line from corner to corner again, that's going to be about the halfway point in 3D space. And I'm just keeping this loose. And so that's also, because keep in mind that this is not a perfect box. I'm not really concerned about making this look mechanical, because what we're going to do is we are going to fit an organic figure into this. So when I start to teach about the torso, and I have to fit the torso inside of this box here, what I'm doing is really giving myself some measurements. And so if we do this, and I'm sure you've seen this before, now you can do it this way. And this is kind of representing what the pelvis is. But what I'm trying to do is I'm just giving myself some guidelines here. And that's what they are guidelines. So that's the direction that this little exercise is going in. I don't particularly, it doesn't bother me whether you get it exactly and you're trying to get this line perfect right here and this perfect right here and this right here. That's not the point of this. The point of this is to, if I want to take the torso, and this is stuff that I'm going to show you guys later. And matter of fact, let's just go ahead and make this loose right here. So I know the midway point is about right here. And the midway point, that's where the chest is. That's where the line for your chest is. I know that in the middle of here, that's where I can put the head. And now I can clean this up right here. So let's go ahead and put this into red. Let's keep the box. That's to not confuse you. But I want to show you the power of just that little exercise that you're doing, and the fact that it doesn't have to be mechanically accurate. Now, if you're drawing like a mech or something like that, then you definitely will want to go in and clean up that line. So now I have this figure right here. And I am going to okay. And I know that the shoulders are going to fit midway right here. And I can draw in the shoulders. I can draw in some arms. Draw in the hands. And I have the other side right here, which is going to consist of a sphere. And so this is a tool that I'm giving you. This is a problem-solving tool that you will have. And when we get into the mannequin, I'm going to give you a little bit more of a little bit, well, obviously a lot more of based on drawing the mannequin. But I just want to show you really quickly where you can go with this. This is an actual problem-solving tool. That's what the box is, and that's what that little line is individually. So it doesn't have to be perfect, because every single drawing that you make is not going to be perfect. Don't let yourself get frustrated like that. Take some of these basics. Let's go ahead and do one more, just to kind of show you. Just to kind of show you what can be done. So I'm going to go ahead and go in red. And I'm drawing the line of the spine right here. And I have the hands, or I'm sorry, I have the shoulders right here. I know the neck is going to go up that way. And so just really quickly here. So that's what that box, that mysterious little box that you see in all of these figure drawing courses, and I don't really put the way that I teach you guys, you can look at it this way, and I'll put it out here for now. But this is how we start to formulate the torso and the pelvis area. And I don't mind going in depth into the anatomy, because the thing about teaching on YouTube was that I was not able to. I was a little nervous about doing things like drawing breasts, or drawing the buttocks or the crotch area or anything like that. Not that we'll be drawing genitals. That's an entirely separate class that I just don't want to teach, because I don't think it's necessary for artistic anatomy, unless you're drawing nudes, or maybe you got like an erotic comic, which is fine. But the thing about this format is that I can go ahead and not have to worry about having my channel flagged or anything like that, because this is my own class. But you see, that's the power of that box that I just showed you how to do. So I'm going to go ahead and, something, let's go ahead and do one more. Let's do one more, because I also want to show you something else that you can do with this box that I am. Let's go ahead and show you something else very quickly for my people out there that are doing, cartoons. Or maybe you just want a little bit more flavor to your figures. This shape right here, we could bend this shape. And so right now you can see, and I'm keeping this really, really loose. And so the midpoint, I'm just going to eyeball it. But still, let's move this up a little bit. Maybe I should switch over to blue. That's much better. So if you're doing something that's a little bit more animated, and you want to keep that flow going, and you're not really worried about drawing in a bunch of muscles, we can kind of keep it kind of spaghetti-ish, spaghetti light, where you're not really laying in a lot of muscles. You're just kind of drawing a character. And let's have a little fun with this guy. Let's give him some really small legs. Some really skinny legs. And so we're using the same principles here over and over again, but I just want to show you that this is going to work. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and just make the head really huge. So I just want to show you that this works. This works in all things. You can use this exact principle to create very cartoony things, or you can go a bit more of the serious route. So that's the exact same box and the exact same concept that I showed you, except we've taken it up a notch, or taken it down, or taken it over. So that's the power of the box, and I'm gonna have the exercise videos for you guys, and I'll also have the PDF worksheets for you, and so you can continue on and learn how to master the or at least become very proficient in the 3D box and or container, because that's how I want you to look at this. I want you to look at this as if it is a container, because that's what it is. It's giving you this structure in order to put your organic figures into. So it's like if you're thinking of the torso in whatever organic shape you want to think of it in, I'm going to show you how to do it with ovals and how to do it with this particular square and a little bit of mixture of both. It's just whatever is going to click for you. So I'll give you a few other alternatives to show you that. So go ahead and join me in the next lesson.